Lead generation matters. It just isn't the whole job. Hi, I'm Al Ludwig, host of the Law Firm Brand Builders podcast and CEO of Practice Made Perfect, where we've managed more than $500 million in marketing for law firms across the country. Happy to be here and provide value however we can. Now back to the episode. Lawyers, please listen to me. Legal marketing requires more than just lead generation. So a lot of law firms talk about marketing as if it starts and ends with leads. How many did we get? What did they cost? Which vendor drove them? Can we buy more next month? Ultimately, that mindset makes sense on the surface. Leads feel tangible. They show up in reports. They create an illusion of control. But legal marketing, especially in personal injury for motor vehicle accidents, requires far more than just lead generation. Because law firms do not simply grow by buying demand. They grow by building a brand that creates demand, improves conversion, strengthens every channel, and makes the firm more likely to be remembered when someone actually needs a lawyer. That is the part too many firms miss. Lead generation matters. It just isn't the whole job. And to be clear, I'm not anti-lead gen. I use lead gen a ton. Lead generation, it has its place. Paid search has its place, LSAs, paid social, third-party leads, landing pages, and intake optimization, all of it serves its purpose. But when a law firm's entire marketing strategy becomes go buy more leads, it usually creates a few big problems. First, the firm becomes dependent on rented demand rather than owned demand. Second, marketing performance becomes more fragile. The moment lead costs rise, competition intensifies, a platform changes, or a vendor underdelivers, growth slows down. Third, a firm starts optimizing for volume instead of quality, memorability, and long-term market position. That is when legal marketing starts to become reactive instead of strategic. A law firm is not an e-commerce brand, and that's an important thing to remember. One of the biggest mistakes people make in legal marketing is trying to force it into a pure performance marketing framework. And that works better in categories where people buy frequently at a low risk and low emotion. You're buying some sneakers, right? That's not how hiring a lawyer works. Most people do not need a personal injury lawyer every week. Most people never want a personal injury lawyer. They're not deeply educated shoppers. They're making high stakes decisions in stressful moments, often with incomplete information, little time, and heavy reliance on trust signals. That means the firm that wins is not always the one with the cheapest lead. It is often the one that feels the most credible, the most familiar, the most relevant, or the most top of mind in a particular market. And that comes down to branding. And legal branding is not fluff. Branding is actually performance infrastructure. It's not separate from performance marketing. Brand makes every other channel work better. This is one of the most important truths in legal marketing. A strong brand makes lead generation more efficient. It improves click-through rates. It improves conversion rates, call confidence, intake quality. It even improves referral likelihood and recall in a market. When someone has seen your firm on billboards, TV, social, YouTube, local content, sponsorships, or through consistent creative over time, they do not encounter your paid search ad or a landing page in a vacuum. They encounter it with the appropriate context to make a quick decision. And that context really matters. It changes how they perceive your authority. It changes whether they trust you. It changes whether they call you or the 5 other law firms bidding on the same keyword. So too many firms look at channels in isolation. The smarter firms understand channel interplay. They know the billboard is not a billboard. They know the TV ad is not just a TV ad, and they know the social content is not just social content. Each one helps shape market perception. Each one supports conversion elsewhere, and each one answers the core question in the consumer's mind. Do I know this firm, and do I trust them enough to call? If your firm only grows when you buy leads, you do not have a marketing engine. You have a transaction. And transactions can be useful, but they are not the same thing as building a durable growth system. A real legal marketing engine includes lead gen, but it also includes your clear positioning, strong creative, market-specific strategies, consistent brand presence, a smart channel mix, effective intake, case quality discipline, messaging that matches how real consumers choose firms. That is what creates the leverage. Otherwise, the firm ends up trapped in a cycle where it has to keep feeding the machine just to maintain momentum. Speed goes up, lead costs go up, pressure goes up, dependency goes up. And if the firm ever pulls back, results drop immediately because there's no underlying brand equity to carry that business. That's not what sustainable growth looks like, especially in legal marketing. In legal marketing, it's also about the market dynamics, not just media buying. Another reason legal marketing requires more than lead gen is because not every market behaves the same. And this is especially true in personal injury and motor vehicle accidents. Some markets are more saturated than others. Some have different competitive dynamics. Some are dominated by long-established local brands. Some have stronger TV economics. And some are better suited for outdoor, while others are saturated with digital noise. Some are less attractive to large regional advertisers. That means strategy cannot just be run what worked somewhere else. It has to account for market saturation, venue mix, local competition, economics, brand white space, and aggressive competitors are trying to own attention. In other words, legal marketing is not just about acquiring a lead. It is about understanding where and how a firm can win market share. Attribution can become a trap. A lot of firms overvalue what is easiest to track and undervalue what is most important to build. And that is why some teams become obsessed with bottom of the funnel attribution while underinvesting in awareness, underinvesting in memorability, and in creative consistency. Now, the logic sounds smart. If I can't track it directly, I don't want to spend on it. But consumers do not behave in neat little attribution boxes. Someone might see a billboard for months, hear your name in the community, come across your videos on social, watch a TV ad, and then finally search for the firm by name after an accident. In that case, which touch point gets the credit? In this case, the search click usually does. But that does not mean search did all the work. As a matter of fact, search did a very small part of the work. This is one of the biggest reasons legal marketing requires broader thinking. If you invest in what is easiest to attribute, you often underinvest in what actually creates performance. And creative matters more than most firms realize. Another issue with a lead-only mindset is that it often reduces marketing to targeting and media math. But in legal, creative matters. And it matters a lot. The message, the look, the repetition, the distinctiveness, the way the brand codes build over time, the clarity of what the firm actually does, its emotional tone, most importantly, is memorability. Weak creative can ruin good media, and a firm can spend heavily across digital, billboards, TV, and social, but still fail to become memorable if the creative is generic, inconsistent, or unclear. On the flip side, firms with a stronger point of view, stronger visual consistency, and stronger market presence often get more out of every dollar they spend. And that's not accidental. That is a long-term strategy. The operations matter too. Legal marketing also requires more than lead generation because marketing does not stop at the lead. If the intake team is weak, if response times are slow, if case qualification is inconsistent, or if the firm is bringing in the wrong case mix, more leads will not solve that real problem. In fact, they may just create more waste. I've said before that in PI, the conversion cannot just be about volume. You have to understand what those intakes turn into. Your want rates matter, conversion rates matter, source quality, brand-driven demand often behaves differently than non-brand lead gen. That difference matters operationally and it matters financially. So when a firm says, we need more leads, the better question is often, do you need more leads or do you need better marketing architecture around the leads you're already generating? The best firms think in ecosystems. The strongest law firm marketing strategies are built like ecosystems, not vending machines. They do not ask only, how do we buy more leads next month? They also ask, how do we become more known? How do we become more trusted? How do we make every channel work harder and work together? How do we improve our branded search over time, which helps us understand that our brand equity is lifting? How do we build something ultimately that compounds over months and years? That's the difference between a firm that is constantly chasing the next tactic and a firm that is building durable market position. With all of that, I want to leave you with one final thought. Lead generation, it is a tool. You should be using it. but it's not an overall strategy. And when law firms confuse the two, they often end up with marketing that produces activity without creating real momentum. The firms that win long-term understand that legal marketing requires more than just lead generation. It requires brand, it requires strategy, creative, market awareness, integration across all the channels, and operational alignment with that plan. Because the goal is not just to get a lead. The goal is to build a firm that people know, trust, remember, and call when that emergency moment happens in their life. And that takes more than buying demand. It takes building something bigger. The best law firm marketing does two things at once. It builds a brand people remember and drives action when they need help. PMP Marketing Group helps law firms combine brand, strategy, media buying, creative, and performance marketing into one smarter engine. And that's what I'm here to help you build. So would love it if you want to talk, send me a DM, hit us up on our website to talk shop if that's all that's needed, or available to consult on a higher level and actually do the marketing for you.